Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group 9. My name is Nurjannah.
My name is Aziz Jamal Pasalwangi.
My name is Rafiatus Solihah.
And now we will present about the topic 12. It's about the building cultural bridge to communication. Okay, the first material will be explained by Azizah Jamal Pasalawangi. For Azizah, time is yours.
Thank you for the chance. Okay, I will explain about the barriers to cross the cultural communication. The barriers to cross-cultural communication. Ethnocentrism happens when we implicitly believe our way of doing things and seeing things is the right and only way. As a result, we perceive others' behaviors as odd and improper. Ethnocentrism also creates an us versus them mentality can be detrimental. Stereotyping. There are quite a few cross-culture training in the market that are focused on memorizing culture difference and can reinforce stereotyping. Learn about difference can be useful as a starting point, but individuals are unique. You can never predict a person's behavior based on his or her nationality. Psychological barriers. To manage cross-culture teams successfully, you need to flex your own style. It's not easy to go against your natural preference. People can feel authentic and incompetent. Language barriers. In global teams, people who are less fluent in English tend to withdraw from communication, which means the team may not get all the input it needs. Understanding what's said can be challenging if people speak too fast or use too much slang. Geographical distance. In global virtual teams, people don't get to the chance to interact and build a relationship with each other in the traditional office environment. And the less you know about people, the less you share information with them. Collaboration within virtual teams is therefore more challenging. Conflicting values. Cultural clashes happen when other people's behaviors compromise our own values. Often when you don't understand or don't agree with the behavior, it means that are conflicting values under the waterline. There is no right wrong way of doing things, it's just a matter of cultural norms. Okay, a culture difference to the same varies. The difference is communication recital, and the diverse forms of communication can create diversity among various cultures. People who live in various culture and historical epochs communication differently and have different patterns of talk. The effect of barriers on relationship or productivity in action. One of the biggest effects of communication barriers in business is that it causes employees to fail to deliver on request directives. This weakness can mean the receiver is uncertain about the request. Misinterpretation. Misinterpret messages are also an effect of communication barriers in many large and small business. Language and communication differences are common as companies become more diverse. Bad work relationship. A barrier commonly tied to this negative effect is emotions. When a workplace becomes overly affected by the emotional state of one, a few, or several workers. Lack of knowledge, improperly structured organization and communication process can ultimately contribute to an environment in which employees generally lack knowledge about the company, its product, and their jobs. Okay, next, solution to effective cross-cultural communication. Observation. It always best to observe the behaviors of the group and follow their lead. This observation may help in understand the two. High and low context culture. Interpreters. To get know the interpreter in advance, your pricing essence, pace, and idioms are important to a good interpreter. Review technical terms in advance because the good interpretation will result in the positive feedback from the receiver.
Thanks for Aziza. And now the next material will be explained by Rafiah to Soliha. For Rafiah, time is yours.
Thank you for the change. Okay, I will continue the material that described by the speaker before. Okay, the next solution is nonverbal communication. In high context culture, much of the communication process occurs nonverbally and it involves body language and signs which may be different in different cultures. Many cultures determine the seriousness of your message by your actions and emotions during your delivery. The next is verbal communication. Avoid use of technical phrases, jargon, and acronyms. The belief should be left at the time of communication that what you know necessarily might not be understood in the same way as you can. The last one is emotional responses. Emotional responses will vary among different cultures, as many times expression can repel those feeling which words cannot. While some cultures will not react emotionally to your messages, other will watch your body language, watch their eyes, avoid humors and jokes, rely on a pleasant facial expression, and use visuals where possible. Okay, the next it's about communication barriers are evident in this scenario. As the world is getting more and more globalized, different cultures have a different meaning for several basic values of society. Dressing, religions, or lack of them, and the general behavior will change drastically from one culture to another. Hence, it's a must that we must take these different cultures into account while communication. This is what we call being cultural appropriate. Okay, the next it's about cultural factors may be related to the barriers. Cultural diversity makes communication difficult as the mindset of people of different cultures are different. The language, signs, and symbols are also different. When people belonging to different cultures communicate, these factors can become barriers. The way you communicate is affected by the culture you were brought up in. The opposite is also true. Culture is to a large extent determined by the way we communicate. Okay, the next it's about the barriers might impact relationship. Persuasion at work always take place within a network of relationship. A relationship with someone somewhere will be the starting point for putting your idea in play, and relationship with and between people you may not even know will often be the end point for getting it adapted. The relationship must already be in place. Okay, the next it's about specific behaviors could help decrease or remove the barriers. To be an effective receiver of messages, you should attempt to overcome your own attitudinal barriers to help ensure more effective communication. To improve your overall communication skills, you need to be aware of and attempt to minimize any barriers to communicate they are present.
Okay, the next material will be explained by me. How this activity be helpful for you in the future?
The benefits that we can get when we try to build cultural bridge to communication in the future. The first one, we can know more how to communicate well with new people who have different communication culture. The second, we can also find or create our own good strategies that we should use to communicate with people from other culture. We will be better able to understand and appreciate the different culture of speaking when some of us have very different culture. And the last, we can find out the communication habits and values of each other culture. Okay, next material, intercultural communication handout. Awareness of these three aspects in cross-cultural communication can be used to enhance understanding. The first, external and internal culture. Whether a culture is national or organizational, it's important to be aware of the meaning that lies beneath observable behavior. External culture can be studied in history, geography, political science, and the arts. Understanding external, objective aspects of a culture can foster greater understanding. Internal culture is culture implicitly learned. Internal culture includes subjective knowledge that is unconsciously held, including shared values, beliefs, assumptions, and behaviors. Internal aspect of culture cause the greatest misunderstanding in cross-cultural encounters. High context and low context culture. High context culture have a long tradition of commonly shared values and understanding. Communication is more implicit and internalized. It's transmitted in the subtle ways. Nonverbal cues are very important. The environmental setting, gesture, and mood are part of the message being communicated. Low context culture have a preference for explicit and direct information. Specific and in-depth explanation are the expected norm. In low context culture, individuals are usually more competitive. They tend to be more analytic rather than holistic in their problem solving. Okay, monochronic and polychronic time. Differences in basic time systems are also a source of frustration and misunderstanding in cross-cultural communication. These are two different ways to perceive time. Each approach has advantages and disadvantages. Monochronic time usually is found in industrialized societies. Time is blocked into elements and one takes a time takes precedence. When the scheduled time is up, the person is expected to move on. Polychronic time means being involved with many different things at one time. There is no sense of wasting time or running out of time. There is more a focus on people and relationships. Time is experienced very differently. Okay, the last from our presentation it's about conclusion. The first, cultural preferences can impede effective cross-cultural communication. Awareness of the cultural aspect of communication enhances understanding. Many communication rules are taken for granted by the people within the culture. Nonetheless, being observant and asking appropriate questions can enhance cross-cultural understanding. Okay.
Okay, that's all from us. Thanks for your participation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.